So if you've ever gotten 2 or 3 roof quotes and felt completely confused, you're not crazy. Roof pricing feels inconsistent because most homeowners are only given a number. They're not really given the number behind that breakdown. So today I want to walk through exactly what drives roof pricing here in South Florida. Let's start with the biggest driver. That's going to be your material type. So in South Florida, most architectural shingles typically range anywhere from about 12 to 20,000 installed on an average home. Designer shingles usually are going to range anywhere from about 15,000 to 24,000, once again depending on some factors. Metal roofing, on the other hand, can range widely. Usually that's going to be anywhere between $20,000 and $45,000 depending on the profile and the gauge. Tile roofing usually starts around the same price, maybe a little bit cheaper than metal, and it can go all the way up to $60,000 if it's a custom clay tile or a blend of clay tile. That tile roofing is going to have a big range, and now we even have products such as metal tile, which is actually really interesting. But material alone is not really going to determine the price. Here's what homeowners don't realize. The same shingle can cost very different amounts depending on the installation standards. So for example, on one hand, you have premium shingles that are rated to 130 miles an hour wind resistance, but that rating just applies to the shingles alone. If you install those shingles correctly as a qualifying system, a manufacturer like GAF will offer a wind-proven limited warranty, which doesn't have a wind speed limitation. But that's going to require specific installation in regards to your nail patterns, proper starter strips, having the correct ridge cap installation. These qualified system components are going to really come together and build you a solid roof, and that's why manufacturers such as GAF is willing to write a wind-proven warranty to where they believe that their system is going to last for the long haul. So if on one hand, you have a contractor who's going to install that system to qualify for that warranty, and then you have another contractor who's not, the pricing is going to reflect in that difference. And you're not going to see that necessarily on paper, but if you look a little bit deeper, it'll be very obvious to you. Now let's spend a little bit of time and talk about complexity. So if you have a simple roof with only 2 slopes, we call that an up and over, that's going to cost a lot less than a roof with multiple valleys. Someone's had additions, there's a bunch of changes and transitions. All of these things are going to require more cuts. More cuts equal more labor and equals more materials. Then another factor is the height of the roof. So a single-story home is typically going to cost less and it's less complex than a 2-story home. Having good access is actually going to matter. So do my guys have access to bring a crane to the top of your house and drop off materials? Do we have the ability to pull a dump truck up to your house in order to dump straight into the dump truck? Or do we have to lay down a tarp, drop everything onto a tarp, take it from the tarp, put it into a wheelbarrow it down the street, and then load it up? That's obviously going to be a lot more labor, a lot more time, and it's going to cost some more money. One of the biggest fears that homeowners have is decking. So if your wood decking under your shingles, your existing roofing system is damaged, soft, compromised, that's going to add cost. And that happens to be, in my experience, one of the biggest fears that homeowners have is, what is that wood build going to look like? Because whether you know it or not, when you sign a contract with a roofing company, they're going to outline a cost per sheet, a cost per board, cost per linear foot of wood. That is basically a contract that you are signing that's saying that you're agreeing to those costs. Now, should the roofing company communicate to you, let you know, hey, we've replaced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's great. However, people are busy. You as a homeowner may not be available standing by the phone the whole time. And us as roofers, we're roofing in the middle of Miami weather. So it actually gets pretty crazy in the summer where, it may rain for 2 weeks straight. It may be sunny and say that there's no rain coming, but then all of a sudden we have a monsoon come in the middle of the afternoon. So it's very unpredictable. So we don't necessarily, as roofers, we can't risk stopping, waiting for an answer, sending pictures, waiting for approval. We have to tear off the roof and dry that roof in, get it covered, get it watertight as soon as possible. Because if we do have to stop the job and the roof's been torn off and bad weather comes, it's going to be bad. There's going to be water inside the house. There's going to be damaged drywall. There's going to be water remediation companies there, and it's going to be an absolute nightmare. So whether it's with us or another company, understand that roofers have to move fast, especially in the Miami weather or South Florida weather, and especially during the summer. It gets crazy. Now we're going to talk a little about underlayment. So peel and stick underlayment, that's going to cost a lot more than your typical 30-pound felt. Peel and stick membranes, they're usually going to cost more than, but these membranes, they're going to provide stronger secondary water protection and also save you a little bit on insurance. And here in South Florida, secondary water protection, it matters. So now let's talk about labor. So skilled roofing labor here in South Florida is not cheap. Cheap labor usually means shortcuts, and shortcuts are going to show up later as lifted shingles, nail pops, failed flashing, insurance problem. And here's the truth. The cheapest roof quote is usually the one missing something. The best quote explains what's included. So if you're comparing contractors, ask, does this qualify for an enhanced wind warranty? Is this installed to wind-proven standards? What underlayment are you using? What manufacturer of underlayment are you using? Does the underlayment that you are using match the manufacturer that you're using for the shingles, providing you with the warranty that you're looking for? And really the price difference between a high-end underlayment and just middle-of-the-road underlayment is really not that big. It's a couple $100s. Some people are just pinching pennies, offering the absolute lowest price, and it's hurting the industry as a whole. It's hurting homeowners and the contractors alike. When all is said and done, pricing confusion is usually going to come from missing information. So when you understand the system or have an idea of what's being provided to you as a homeowner, the numbers will start to make sense.